We are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us. This is Josh Horn. He is with the Social Security Administration, which means he is an agent of the federal government. Yes, you're paid with taxpayer dollars.
I'm glad to help.
You are a steward for the people. I appreciate it. He's here to take your phone calls if we can help you with any questions you have on Social Security. Let's start things off this morning. We've got lines open if you want to jump in. It gets busier later in the show, so give us a holler. We'll go to Donnie. Donnie, good morning. Hi.
Good morning.
Hey, what's on your mind, Donnie?
I got a question. Okay, everybody gets Social Security when they retire. What about the people that's drawn Social Security that passes away? What happens to their regular income? Does it just get thrown back in the system, or is it lost forever, or what?
That's an interesting question. Like, for instance, I've been paying into Social Security all my life, and let's say I get hit by a truck tomorrow. I'm gone. I'm never going to be here to collect it. Now, let's just say I assume my wife could seek widow's benefits. That would be one thing if you died that way. But I think his point might be, what if I was single and had no one that could claim it, no children or spouse, and I died? That money, does that just gets absorbed and goes elsewhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's a really good question. And a couple of things. One is to make sure we understand how Social Security works, because today's workers are supporting today's beneficiaries. So some people think that they're paying it into their own fund that they're going to draw from later on, but that's not really how it works. I'm working, I'm paying in Social Security tax dollars, and those tax dollars today are supporting the folks who are drawing today. I'm not paying into my own fund. So first of all, we have to understand that how Social Security works. But the other thing is, if you pass away, there's a couple of ways that you, or I should say your family, can still benefit from it, and that is we do have survivor benefits for minor children, for disabled adult children, and also for spouses. And so if you were to pass away today, and then your widow, when she becomes, she can draw as early as 60 for retirement age, or for widows benefits would be as late as age 66. So I mean, but there's those widows benefits in there. Like I said, survivor benefits for children. And then also, if you have a child that was disabled before age 22, they can actually draw off of your record, because they may not have a record of their own if they had some kind of childhood disease or condition that prevented them from working.
But aside from that, if, like I said, nothing else, it just is absorbed.
It really, there is no benefits payable otherwise.
Then it goes that way. Yeah, I'm glad that you made that clear. It's not like you have some account that's there, that's in your name, that's been going out, that they've just been setting aside for you. Though, if you've been working and you've been paying into it, you don't know how much, and there's not some account there necessarily with your name on it, but you know you're entitled to a Social Security benefit when you retire because you've paid into it.
Right.
All right, you know that's there. It really is a whole interesting concept. Social Security was created what year?
1935.
35, and it's a concept whereby, I mean, you could argue, and some have, look, I'm earning my money. If I want to save it, fine. If not, give it to me, let me spend it. But they've set up this program because they knew Americans, well, frankly, maybe didn't know enough or couldn't save, and said, we're going to try to take care of you in spite of yourself. I mean, I remember that a lot of people, a few years back, there was a movement to say, instead of putting it in Social Security, give people and let it invest it. Don't be stupid. Okay, and you might say, Nick, what do you mean stupid? I know how to invest my own money. Really? And then when we have a bunch of people, because they went and bought a boat with the money they should have been saving, on the street living in a cardboard box because they have nothing to live on years later. It's a social program that's there as a safety net, and I'm in favor of it, and I will be. And I know there's others like, well, that's my money, I should be able to invest it as I want. I just think you're wrong, and I think you'd blow it, is what I think you would do. That's my take. Now, I don't know if that's what politicians thought back then, and I know there would be some that would be good stewards and stash it away, but you know as well as I do, you look at how many people are in debt out there today, and how many people don't save for the future. If they had that Social Security money, they ain't putting it in a lot box for when they retire. They're going to be blowing it on something. And so I think a lot of people, not just Americans, but humans in general, need to be protected from themselves, or they're going to end up in dire straits when they get old enough and can no longer work.
Well,
that's my take.
The other fact too to remember is that back in 1935, when they created Social Security, full retirement age, there was no early retirement age. Just full retirement age was 65. The average life expectancy was 64. And so, most people didn't live
to even
past that. So it'd be the equivalent today of saying your full retirement age is probably 87 or 88.
Right.
So the program itself has changed just for the simple fact that we're living, on average, 20 years past the full retirement age. So.
Yeah. I would think about it. And most Americans, oftentimes through no choice, fault of their own, they're doing the best they can, are living paycheck to paycheck. And so thank goodness for having some Social Security there for them for when the time comes when you can no longer work, because otherwise you would be destitute. Let's go next to Paul. Paul, good morning. Hi, Paul.
Hey, good morning, Nick. Good morning to your guest there.
Good morning. What's on your mind?
Good morning. I'm glad you asked the question about the people that pass away that don't have no beneficiaries before 65. I know people that's done that, that's had no spouse, no kids, no beneficiary, nothing like that, and that has to be now. That is something that really don't get talked about much in the Social Security circles. That has to be hundreds of millions of dollars that they net a year. I mean, that's just how it is. I would hate to think that the Social Security people they find it necessary to have that income to sustain Social Security as a whole. I find that sad if that's the case. I want Social Security to be solvent. And I agree 100% with you, Nick. If we didn't have Social Security, you just give 100% of your funds in our paychecks. 90% of the people that got that said that they would invest it, they would lose it and blow it. You're absolutely 100% correct.
The truth,
90% of them would. One quick comment that I got about Social Security about it's not aimed at being a retirement plan. It's aimed at being a supplement plan.
That's right.
You're absolutely right, Nick. And to me, it's going to be more of a retirement plan. I hate to say it. I don't make a lot of money. And I don't make a lot of money. My family don't come from a lot of money. My grandmama, we call her Mammy. Granddaddy was a sharecropper and made moonshine. That's what he done.
That's awesome.
That's what he done. Now, he's been dead 30 years, but he raised a family on sharecropping and making moonshine. His wife, we call her Mammy, my grandmama. She worked for a little while at the Georgia Boot Factory in Franklin, and she made a little bit of money. She worked for a few years there, but she had a big family, so she couldn't work a lot. And I won't never forget, I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I was over her house, and she was fixing me lunch. She made the best vegetable soup that you ever ate in your life. I wish I could have that today, a bowl of vegetable soup and a piece of light bread. That's what she was feeding me that day. And Williamson County Hospital called her, Nick, about a hospital bill. Now, all she was drawing was Social Security, and you know she didn't draw much, all right? She had a bill down there, and I won't never forget. I was 7 or 8 years old, and I got to crying for it. They was asking her to pay on a hospital bill down there, and they started out, $100 a month. Well, I mean, that's just ridiculous for Mammy. She couldn't do that. And as the conversation went, Mammy kept telling her, "You don't understand. It takes every nickel I got just to live." And they kept dropping it down to $75, to $50, to $20. And then the lady finally said, "Ma'am, can you pay $5 a month on this bill?" And Mammy told that lady, Nick, I won't never forget, that's been over 40 years ago. She said, "Ma'am, you don't understand it. It takes every nickel I got to live." And then I guess she didn't ever pay nothing on the bill and whatever. But that's how old people struggle, and it's sad to say, but I hope that they keep Social Security solvent, because there's still mammies and pa's out there like that, and that's how they live, Nick. All right, and thank you for taking my call, brother. God bless you.
You betcha. Thank you, Paul. And he's absolutely right. That was $5 40 years ago was a lot of money, and I understand where she's coming from. I think most people, Mammy, if she could have, would have liked to have paid toward her bill. Everyone wants to pay their debt, but it's tough. But yeah, there's people like that today.
Yeah. And I'll just, I was just kind of spinning off of the story and talking about paying hospital bills and trying to find ways. There are several programs out there, especially through the state of Tennessee, and so we have folks coming in every day trying to figure out how they, especially with medicines, how am I going to pay for my medicines? How am I going to pay for my doctors? I've got Medicare, but it only pays so much. What else can I do? And Social Security really may not have necessarily any other programs for them, but I do know the state of Tennessee has a few different programs, so I do encourage anybody who might be listening, who might be in the situation that his mammy was in, that hey, reach out to TennCare, reach out to Human Services, do a little bit of research, maybe get with your kids or something like that. They can help you do a little bit of research, because there are some programs out there, and I don't know, I'm not familiar with all of them, but that may be able to help in some of those situations.
Oh, yeah, awesome. All right, let's go next to Dawn. Dawn, good morning. Hi, Dawn.
Yes. I might have missed this. Y'all may have said something about it, but wasn't everybody supposed to get like a $30 raise this year?
You mean the annual, every year you look to see about getting a cost of living increase, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, how much did you get last year? Do you know, Dawn?
Last year I didn't get $1, and this year I didn't get $1. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said, "Well, I heard that everybody's supposed to get at least $30." Then my husband got $5 last year, but he got $39 this year. So I didn't get $1 last year or this year.
Okay. Well, yeah, we did kind of touch on. Well, and by the way, why would? And you said there are reasons why sometimes someone will benefit from that cost of living increase and others won't when it happens.
Yeah, and it's a percentage. So last year, this past cost of living increase was 2.8%. So some folks aren't really drawing very much Social Security, and so they may not see very much of an increase because they're not drawing very much Social Security. Also, we've got some folks who change plans. Maybe they're, maybe they're getting older, or they're getting to where they have more illnesses or conditions, and so they increase to a bigger prescription drug plan. When you do that, the cost goes up, and that's a separate. The cost of your prescription drug plan is separate from what you might be receiving in Social Security. So we've seen some folks whose cost of living was absorbed in the bigger plan that they've got with the prescription drug plan. We've seen some folks who for years, whenever we didn't have any cost of living, or we had a very, very small cost of living increase, and they were protected. We've talked a time or two about the protection that you have, where your benefits will never go down because of an increase in Medicare costs, the Part B costs. And so for years, folks had basically an adjustment on their benefit amount that basically protected their benefits from going down. Well, then when things get good again and we start seeing bigger cost of living increases, then that protection starts going away. And I know that's it's kind of gets a little bit technical, but then they don't really see those increases because now they're going to pay what they should have been paying for Medicare all along, but they were protected because of the small cost of livings that we've had. Yeah. There's just a few different reasons and examples. So I do encourage you to give us a call, and we can take a look at your specific record. And there may be other folks who are asking the same questions out there about, why am I not getting more? We had a cost of living increase, but I only saw a $3 increase or a $1 or no increase. Give us a call. Let us take a look at your record, and we can answer you more specifically.
Yeah, and I'd be surprised if her husband got $30 increase based on that last. What was the average for last year's cost of living increase?
It's 2.8%. So if you're drawing $1,000, you're going to see about $30 increase.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. So it could have been in that situation. As far as $30 more this year, as we said at the beginning of the show, and she thought she might have missed it. We won't know till November. Right. All right. So if anyone told you you're getting an increase, they're wrong, because we don't know at this point. That may ultimately be true, but we won't know until Social Security announces it. And Josh he's real good about getting with us, and we'll announce it before anyone else here once he knows. But that's not until the fall.
Right.
All right. We'll take a break on that note. When we come back, more of your phone calls right after this.